December, the month of Christmas and boobs. 4 months down in the cold caught wren. On this morning, I sat in a Paris-bound train and I promised my parents that these 2 hours were the last ones spent waiting. I wore the denim jacket I bought way back in September, so my siblings can hug all the places I've been and people I've held since. I wanted to share these experiences with them, let them know all I've been up to. I watched the trees and thought about my little sister's height, how small her hands were last summer, how tall she must have grown since. I imagined my closet to be cleaned out by now, most of my clothes stuffed in her suitcase to visit me and return home as if they belonged to her. I will yell at her to give them back, and I will hope to lose this argument. I wondered if her favorite color is yellow, and if we still share that in common. I wondered how much of me she admired to be like now. Across from me sat an older woman. If I spoke better French, I thought, I would ask if someone waited for her at the arriving station, if she has siblings as well. I wanted to tell her about my family in these 4 months I left them. I wanted her to tell me it was the right thing to do. I wanted to ask her, when did living without your mom stop hurting so much? Instead, I looked out the window. The rain didn't stop. I remember the taste of the air, laced with sugared walnuts and leather cleaner. I watched the scenery change throughout each town we rode through. The baby giggled from the seat behind mine, and people got up to grab their suitcases. I counted their faces with the promise of forgetting. When we hugged, my mother cried. It felt as though I could never leave them again. But the 2 weeks with my family passed, Christmas in Paris, a few days in Rennes, and the rest in some town I can't recall the name of. The first thing we did in Paris was eat. I had forgotten how comfortable it felt to reach over my brother and grab the salt, spill the water over my cup, and serve myself seconds without feeling as though I was stealing from starving mouths. I ordered, "Je vais prendre un cheeseburger," and my family beamed at the impressiveness of this sentence. To the French, I played the fraud, but to my family, I felt pretty damn fluent. I taught them how to ask for the restroom, explain my brother's nut allergy, say please and thank you. I liked how I became their teacher after 4 months of constant "C'est quoi ça? Comment te dis ces mots? Je suis perdu. Aidez-moi s'il vous plaît. C'est tellement difficile. Je me sens hyper stupide." But with my family, I had infinite French knowledge. I can't remember how we spent the rest of that day, but when night fell, my mom downloaded her 5 tickets and my family walked to the theater. There we sat, the family of 5, just 20-something feet away from the stage. We weren't sure what to expect from a burlesque show, so when the woman danced onto the stage, feathered headdress and tits out, our table cheered the loudest. But progressively, the show became more and more awkward to sit through with the fam. It got serious after about an hour, when they wheeled out the red plastic rhinoceros, climbed onto its back, and left the audience confused on how 2 people can accomplish that on such little surface area. If anything, all of us left impressed, some inspired, and this became one of the many side quests my family seized during our first week back together. So when they listen to this podcast and judge my many out there decisions, I'll remind them of the way they raised me. Chase the craziness and forget the comfort zone. You never want to go to a party and hear about someone's great day, my dad says. Instead, you want to go to the party and hear how they crashed their car or got fired. I'm just collecting some conversation ammo. That's all. It was a strange feeling to join my family after 4 months of going through more emotions than I ever thought existed and not know what to say to them. After the first day in Paris, I adapted back to the flow of how things were. I carried my little sister on my back when her feet ached, binged the new season of Squid Game with my brother in the hotel room, and resisted exclaiming, "That's what she said," with Dad after Mom served us the perfect sentence. It was hard, but we swallowed them down. That's what she said. We ate, walked past the shops, skipped the presents, and looked at La Tour Eiffel. We rode to Rennes and I showed them around the city I grew comfortable enough to call my home. The carousel, the cafe, the streets I've taken hundreds of times before. My mom and I shared beers in the bar where the bouncer asked me out just nights before, because Lily told him I was 15. He wasn't there that night. I introduced them to pieces of my new life. They met my host family and loved them like I did. I wasn't sure how to act in between the two. By the time the 10 of us sat down on the 2 couches in the living room, I was able to translate their conversations, and it didn't even faze me. I have a host cat. I told my mom his name's Maki, like the sushi. To practice her French after some Duolingo exercises, she attempted to say, "Is that your cat?" but instead asked my host mom, "Are you a cat?" This was the first time my families laughed together. I watched their shoulders loosen. I felt so overwhelmingly lucky to have these people. December was an intermission. They never last long. So I boarded the train to Rennes early and thought about how every minute I spent sitting here is a minute not holding my family. This time my seat was tweed. The flakes of my croissant coated the suitcase sitting on my shoes. I watched my family through my window as they walked away. My mom leaned on my dad's shoulder. I felt the guilt in my heart. I learned about how my little sister picked up basketball again and every game she wished I came to. Our puppy, and how she could feel happiness again. My brother told me of his single dorm stories and how his heartbreak is finally fading. Maybe my prayers can be heard from France.